happening now with COVID, and how is the recruiting landscape changed? Are companies still recruiting? Are they still hiring and such? And this is what, okay, one thing that we've learned every week is different. How it is this week is very different from next week and super different from the week before. And so that's why it feels like years have gone by since we've been in shelter in place, but it's really only been a month or so. Mm-hmm. It feels like time is warped. Mm-hmm. Yes, what we're seeing now, what I'm hearing, I'm talking with recruiters, talking with employers, talking with HR professionals, companies are still hiring. Yeah. But they tend to be different companies based upon where you are and what's still moving. Mm-hmm. We're also seeing a lot more long-term contracts versus employment. Companies are willing to bring someone on as a contractor, a 1099, but not necessarily as an employee.
And why do you think that is?
Because they're hedging their bets. Mm-hmm. And it's easier from a cost perspective to hold a 1099 on their books. And it's also cheaper. Mm-hmm. So it hits the books in a different line item from a business perspective. And mm-hmm. so it eliminates about 30 to 40% cost, because it costs 30 to 40% more to bring an employee on board than it is a 1099.
Because of benefits, you mean?
Yes. Benefit, okay. Payroll tax, unemployment tax, workers' compensation, tons of things that an employer needs to pay in order to bring you on as an employee. Then they have to get you a computer, they need to get you a phone, all these things. But if you're an independent contractor, it's expected that it rests on your shoulders and not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. So they're more and more willing to bring you on board as a 1099. And those are the first that are going to be brought on payroll. So when things begin to even out in the economy, and we believe we will totally even out. Mm-hmm. The economy, that the people who have been performing as a 1099 are the first ones they're going to bring onto their payroll. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what are the industries that are still recruiting? In Hawaii, construction, I think, is a number one from what I'm seeing and I'm gathering. Construction hasn't really stopped. It's still been ongoing. It's been somewhat of a slowdown, but now it's like really picking up again. So a lot of jobs within construction. We're also seeing jobs in healthcare. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And then jobs that are in fulfillment and distribution, getting goods and things all across the island. So that's what we're seeing in Hawaii. And then I would say for you, Day, here in California, healthcare is number one, fulfillment is number two, construction is number three, mm-hmm. and you see other things like tech, of course, fintech, martech, right? Mm-hmm. Government, oddly, even though they are threatening to cut, they are ramping in other areas, like they need contact tracing people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing a little bit of a thought around after World War II, what happened to get the economy going again? Mm-hmm. And we were in a war, and so the government really rallied around that war. Now we're in COVID. What's happening? We're seeing the government rally around fighting this new war, which is a healthcare war. Right? And with that, those types of government jobs are beginning to grow. Okay, so those are the effects that we're seeing in COVID-19. And the number one thing, though, that I'm seeing is this rapid movement, that companies are moving and pivoting very quickly in order to survive. So I wanted to share a little bit of my own personal story here of don't be like me, okay? Because this should look familiar to you, Dave. Where's that?
Kaiser.
Yeah.
That's Oakland. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
I know exactly where that is. Yeah.
Yes. So this is Lake Merritt, and that was my office.
Mm-hmm.
I had this most amazing view of Lake Merritt,
Mm-hmm.
and I was miserable, totally, utterly miserable. For 20 years, I was in a job that I really made me so incredibly despondent, where people on my team would say, is this another fake it till you make it day? Because they could see it on my face that I was not happy going into work.
Wow.
Just not aligned. I was not aligned with what I was meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was really stuck. The longer I stayed, the more stuck I was.
Mm-hmm.
I have a bachelor's from UH in HR. I have a master's in HR. I have 20 years in HR. Why in the world am I thinking about leaving my career, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like this massive hole that I'm stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we're learning about the pandemic is we see a lot of really neat innovation, and we see that with masks being made, signs being made for graduation, different ways in which we're celebrating, just pivots of how quickly and amazing we as humans can change on a dime. And so I say, don't be like me. Don't wait for things to get better. Make little incremental movements in your life and your career so that you're moving closer to purpose. Just lean and keep moving towards purpose. And then the doors will begin to open. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm not saying those things, but make those little movements towards purpose. And what is purpose?
Talk more about that.
Okay. I'm gonna jump over this then. And we're laughing, Pastor Lori, because these are two of our friends. Okay. The biggest thing, I'm just going to say this one thing, and this is how we as human beings pivot and are so inventive. We're doing all interviews now on Zoom, and like going to New Hope's website, how innovative, how quickly the communities of faith have just pivoted so fast to stay connected and to provide service, right?
Yeah, Pastor Lori, your website's very good.
Oh, I'm glad. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm in tech, and I appreciate a good website, and your website's extremely responsive, and just very, very good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I agree. Yeah.
We recently actually did a change out on that. So I'll let the team know. They'll be excited to hear that. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Yes, these are two of our friends, Pastor Lori. This is Jojo on, I guess, the left, and Arlene on the right. Arlene's at HBA. She's a librarian at HBA.
Yeah.
Funny story, she took my sister's job.
Oh.
So my sister was the librarian at HBA, and then she left, and then Arlene took her spot. And Jojo's at Queens. She's
Wow.
works at Queens.
Wonderful.
Yeah.